Hey, welcome back. She is still Ash Ortega.
And she is still Michelle Santo.
And you are still listening to The Spookiness of It All. Spooky, spooky. Welcome back. This is our second episode. Just so you know, she's Ashley Ortega.
And she's Michelle Santo.
And this is The Spookiness of It All. Spooky, spooky. And today, it's our second episode, yes, but it's also our Christmas episode.
How bitches?
So, here's the thing. If it's Christmas episode, but it's the spookiness of it all, what do you suppose we're going to be talking about today?
Is it going to be Krampus?
Oh my goodness, it might be Krampus. So, you're a little more knowledgeable than I am. I kind of know that he eats children. Tell us a little bit, Ash, about Krampus.
Well, Krampus is my homie. And December 5th is Krampus von Nicht. I do believe it's Austrian, right?
Yes. Austrian, Bavarian.
Yeah, so that general vicinity. And basically, he walks hand in hand with Santa Claus. And Santa Claus treats the good children. Krampus, spanks, eats, whips, or throws in a sack and whips, depending on the lore and the location. I've heard multiple different things. Either he's going to eat you, or he's going to beat you, or he's going to beat you and eat you.
Well, if he beats you and eats you, you're tender.
Yeah, exactly. He tenderizes.
Tenderizes with a birch branch.
I think, and I was looking it up yesterday, and the theory is that's why people get lumps of coal, because I think on our side of the region, it was too rough to the Westerners. It was too rough. And we're soft. We're soft. Okay.
Can I tell you what I thought about the lumps of coal? I thought that if Krampus got enough lumps of coal, he could build a fire to bake you.
Exactly. But they that's where I think that actually came from too. I believe that there's a lot of people and a lot of Reddit and stuff that were talking about it. But basically he's a Christmas demon that's homies with Santa. And my thought is, so like off topic but on topic, like how does a conversation work between them? Like, I'm for real.
So does Krampus get to set up front and help drive the sleigh, or is Santa like, yo, bitch, get in the back, get in the sack, you can come out when I get down the chimney?
Or are they driving through Starbucks and does Santa get a frappe and Krampus get a pup cup? I don't know. I don't know.
A pup cup. Oh my God.
They do run hand in hand. And so the premise of it all is be good or you'll get beaten to death. And so back then, which honestly, I think it's a pretty good child rearing tool.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Like mess up, we'll beat you. And I'm okay with that. Because it seemed to work, they don't have very much crime in Austria. So, there's Krampus is a thing.
I know a little bit of history. I do know a little, and I had the dates yesterday, but I'm old AF and I forget easily. So I'll tell you, in the 30s, they outlawed, I don't remember the exact year. I want to say 1936, something like that, but I'm not for sure. But in the 30s, they outlawed Krampus in Austria completely. And in the 50s, they were allowed to bring him back, but they were handing out handbills saying, basically Krampus is a bad dude, because they were afraid, because people were doing Krampus anyway, even though it was outlawed. And they were afraid that his appearance, because Harry with horns and cloven hooves and all the things, they were afraid it was going to mentally scar the children forever, so they were handing out handbills going, hey, stay away from Krampus, he's a bad dude. But they allowed him to come back because everybody was dressing up like Krampus anyway. Just a little bit of odd history that I know.
Have you watched any of the videos of the one from this year?
I have not.
They are, so they do, I'm sorry, I'm battling a cold, so if you hear me clear my throat a lot, that's why.
Well, let's remind our viewers that we're poor and we don't have any fancy video equipment, so we're doing this with a cell phone and 2 cell phones and a laptop, so.
Yes, thug life.
You get all the things, you get all the noises, you hear the puppies playing in the background, you hear the children arguing, whatever the case may be, but yeah, so anyway.
So yeah, Austria, they have 3 or 4 major.
Lava! Woo! Sorry, took a drink of my coffee and it's still lava. Sorry.
Your face.
My tongue is numb.
Do the pizza roll face.
Sorry, I apologize for interrupting. I just drank lava.
Hilarious. No, in Austria, they have 3 or 4 major parades that they televise every year, or it ends up on YouTube. And I always watch them because my brother's birthday is actually on Krampus night.
December the 5th. I remember that.
Yep. And he, but yeah, we watch it together a lot. And the parades are amazing. These people, full cosplay. They will walk down the parade thing, and then they have people standing on either side, of course. And these guys will start sniffing people in a line. They'll sniff them and get all close to them like a demon. And then he'll sniff around and look, and then he'll take his birch branch or his whip and he'll point to one specific person. They will physically hit them. They will spank them. So this one girl, which reminded me of myself, I was watching a parade last night, and this one girl, he picks her out of a crowd and he grabs her and pulls her forward and he spins her around, and he popped her once and she made this ooh daddy face, and I'm like, oh, this chick, because that would have been me. I'd have been like, yes, give it to me. And so good for her.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
But they will hit the people, and it's so crazy because some of them are really aggressive, and they will walk up to children, and most of the time it's a relative, and they don't know because they're in full cosplay, and some of the relatives don't say that they're competing in this.
Oh wow.
And so they will walk up to children they know have been bad and spank their ass right there with a birch branch or a whip, and then just walk off.
Tenderized.
And I'm like, wow. But who leads the parade is Santa, but it's like Pope Santa, the way Santa looks to them, I guess. But he got the Pope hat, the big funny hat. And he's all majestic and stuff. And then there's just 2 Krampuses on either side of him. And he's like, do-do-do. And there's just these demons. And he's leading them with a chain. And I'm like, this is really bitching, But the parade will last hours. And people will get cocoa and all the things, but there's thousands of people cosplaying Krampus. And it's a interesting experience for sure to watch.
If you hear the growling or the bumping around, the Mastador Marauders are at it again. So, sorry. Ruger and Gunner don't have any kind of care that we're trying to podcast. So if you hear all that with our lovely sound equipment, it's just my dogs. And for the viewers, if you don't know what a Mastador is, I have 2 puppies. They're 7 months old. They're about 65 pounds apiece because they are half Mastiff, half Lab puppies. So moving along. Krampus, yeah. We, our youngest, we actually threatened her with Krampus this year because she's been so bad.
Nice. Nice.
True story. We sat her down, we showed her some YouTube videos about Krampus, and we were like, this dude lives around us. And if I were you, I would straighten up, quick, fast, and in a dadgum hurry, because we got his phone number. We got him on speed dial, dude.
Nice. What'd she do?
You know, she was good for about a week, and then she went back to her Satanistic ways. She's special. She's special. So, Krampus, yeah, we set up the email, you guys. Our email is TheSpookinessofitAll at gmail.com. So, email us. Tell us what you think about Krampus. He didn't come into my life. Like, I didn't know about him until 10, 12 years ago. Of course, because he's on that side of the pond. It's Austria and Bavaria and stuff like that where he's really super big. But he's starting to slowly make his way into the States. So you guys email us, TheSpookinessofitAll at gmail.com. Tell us what you think about Krampus. Moving on, because it is our holiday, our Christmas episode. Let's talk about holiday traditions, because I know that Ash, you have a badass holiday tradition. You have a few of them, but I want you to talk about, because this is the spookiness of it all, and you have a really cool, very cool tradition that you do and you've done with your kids for almost 20 years. Tell us about Jack Skellington.
Yeah, so my kids, okay, my oldest is 18, almost 19. And ever since she was about 2, I started this because for those of you who have never, I mean, most of you won't see me in person or know who I am unless you see my TikTok.
They might see your TikTok. So it's at Chainsaw Dolly at TikTok.
Oh, thanks for the plug.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I'm a goth chick, heavily tattooed, heavily pierced. I was never a phase. Been like this since I was 10. And I'm in my almost 40. So there's that. And because I'm spooky, I decided that Santa doesn't get to have a win all the time. So Jack needs to have a win too. So every year around Christmas or on Christmas, I get gifts from Jack Skellington, and he visits with Santa Claus. And so I have black bat bows that I made, and I have black paper, black ribbon. I hide it all in my gun safe, so that way nobody knows that Jack isn't, real. And but it's a good tradition, and he always leaves like little bats and little pieces of stuff around. And how I do it is I literally wait until the after Halloween sales, and I'll go to like the Halloween store, the spirit store, 2 days after Halloween, because they close 3 days after Halloween. And 2 days after Halloween, everything's like 75 to 95% off. I find something really cool, really bitchin', that's spooky and gothic, and I wrap it up in black paper, and it will be sitting on top of her stocking, because I lay her stocking on the floor in front of the tree full, and then I put Jack's on top, like Jack is trying to cover up the stocking, because Jack's first. And so she gets more of a kick out of it than...
Well, I was going to say, your baby, and I've known her since she was born, so I can say this, your baby, she's pretty special. She's as much goth as you are. This is the child that... for the longest time, and this was a couple of years ago, so she's like 7 years old, 8 years old, and she's like upset if she didn't get to play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, she's still that way. And so she slept in a Freddy Fazbear costume last night.
I love it. I'm here for it. Buggy is the coolest kid. Like, she's special in her own right. We all know she's got her challenges, but that kid, man, I love her.
Yeah, she's my little spooky kid. Like, I'm fairly certain she's gonna grow up to be a punker, goth chick, like one or the other. Like, I don't see how she wouldn't, because she hates pink. She likes horror. Horror. I have a hard time saying that word.
Horror, yeah. Scary shit.
Like
I just say scary shit.
Like, one of her favorite movies is The Shining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she likes Stephen King novels. Like, I'll read her Stephen King. Loves that. Loves Doctor Who, which most of his stuff is fun and great, but some of it's a little scary, too, and those are her favorite episodes, are the scary ones.
Well, of course, because it's Buggy. I know that you have another really cool Christmas tradition, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but I'm going to say... I don't really have too many like really great Christmas traditions. We always like when we were growing up, we always opened our gifts on Christmas Eve, and that was the tradition growing up. We always opened our gifts on Christmas Eve. We didn't have crap to open Christmas morning. It was all done Christmas Eve. They were like, "Screw it, sleep late. We don't care. Play with your shit. Leave us alone." And then we had
Yeah.
then we I mean it, it was the 70s and the 80s, who cared? But we had a big meal on Christmas Day. I'm having to change that now because I have an extended family. I've got stepkids and all this stuff, and a sister wife and all this stuff. And so it's different. So all of them, they had their traditions where they open one gift on Christmas Eve, and then everything is get up at the butt crack of dawn Christmas morning and make the house look like an elf threw up in here. So that's what we're going to do. But the tradition that I always try to carry through my grandferals, I cannot talk today. We don't edit, so that'll be left in. My grandparents raised us, and my granddad, every year his thing was he would dip chocolate pretzels and anything else he could find to dip once the pretzels were done. If he had leftover chocolate, like my grandmother, and I don't even think they make them anymore, but Ritz used to make these little Ritz cracker sandwiches where it was a little bitty Ritz and then a layer of peanut butter and another little bitty Ritz, kind of like an Oreo, but it was with Ritz and peanut butter. And he would dip those. He would dip candy canes. He would dip any dadgum thing that he could get his hands on after the pretzels were done so that he didn't waste the chocolate, So I did that with the girls. This is our first Christmas together. It's my second Christmas with my husband, but my first Christmas with everybody in the house. And we did that. We dipped pretzels and candy canes. So that's the tradition that I do. I've always done it, even if it was just me by myself, because let's face it, I'm a fat ass. I'm round. I'm happily, I'm in shape because round is a shape. Just don't ask me to do exercise because I'll die. If you don't believe me, you can go look at my TikToks. It's Michelle with 2 L's, Santo, Szanto. It's at Michelle Santo. And you can see the episode talking about my marriage to my second husband and the honeymoon after, and see how out of shape that I am. So anyway, that's my traditions. I don't have a lot of them. It's, Christmas is just open gifts and get fatter by stuffing your pie hole with anything that'll go in it. So with that being said, I want you to talk about the origins of this tradition that you do, where it came from, how it came to be, and how you guys still do it, because I think that it is absolutely outstanding and it melts my heart.
So my dad is we grew up very poor, first of all, and my dad came from very poor means, and he's 72. So back in the day, he is going to kill me for saying his age. He was raised in Butler, Oklahoma, and him and his 8 siblings would pick cotton. I mean, and half the time they wouldn't even have shoes. We're Mexican American. We were all born here. My grandparents were not. But they weren't migrant workers. They were born here, but they did work migrant worker kind of stuff. And he would pick cotton, rain, sleet, or sun, barefoot usually. Not a lot of food, not a lot of water, not a lot of clothes. They struggled. They struggled hard. And ultimately, they came to Texas in the 70s, and they've been here ever since. And my dad, they didn't ever have stockings. They didn't have stockings, so they couldn't afford them. And they didn't really have big Christmases because they couldn't afford it. And most of them worked during Christmas. And they would go to the local grocery store and they would get brown paper bags, and the kids would get 1 or 2 crowns a piece, and they would color these bags and decorate them for Santa. And they never really got much. They got a handful of apples and oranges and nuts and maybe a candy bar sometimes. But if they got a candy bar or something like that, it would be split between 8 children. And for the longest time, when he came to Texas and was an adult, he just didn't do that tradition. He was a little ashamed of it. And when him and my mom got together, this is about the only nice thing she's ever done for him. Facts.
True story.
She heard that tradition and actually thought it was worth keeping alive, because we were also very poor. Like, we were poor enough that we had roaches to feed poor, like day walking roaches. Okay.
You walk in the kitchen, they're adding shit to the grocery list. Dude, I've been there. They put on the sunglasses when you turn on the light.
When I was a little kid, I even remember us having to get a Rubbermaid tub full of water, and we had to share, the kids had to share the bath water one by one. The youngest got to go first, the oldest went last, and I was the youngest, thank God. But we hardly ever had food. I remember, my mom trying to make pizza was just squishing bread together and putting sliced cheese on it with ketchup, because we just didn't have money for things like that. And so we got very poor up until I was about 10 or so. And we kept that tradition alive. We always decorated a bag every single year. And I still do to this day, because it is it's a bittersweet tribute to where we came from. Like, we struggled
For sure.
And we had nothing but getting those, and we still got the same things. We got one little Dollar General toy, or it was a $1.99 and under store toy, and an orange and an apple and a sack full of nuts and some Hershey Kisses. And that's what we got every year for a while when we were little. And because we just didn't have the money. And it's bittersweet, because when I look at the bag, I'm like, oh, I have so many great memories making those and enjoying that.
Exactly.
But also, like, God, we had nothing.
Yeah.
But we still do it. And my daughter's going to be making her bag day after tomorrow.
That's so cool. I love that. That actually reminds me of a story. It's not really tradition, but it always just touched my heart and warmed my heart. Lisa, again, Lisa and I lived in Atlanta, and we had a Christmas at our apartment. Her mother and stepdad came, and her brother was there, I think, and his girlfriend or what. I don't know. It was like a big get together. And so we're all sitting around the Christmas dinner table, and we were talking. And you have to understand, Lisa's half Korean. Like, her mom is full Korean. Folks met when her dad was stationed over there, et cetera, came to the States. Like, she, to this day, and I call her Korean mommy. I love her to death. She is just the sweetest woman, unless you piss her off. But, that's female. But I remember, I will never forget, it just warmed my heart so much. Bittersweet, like you say, bittersweet. We were sitting around the table and we were telling stories, and Korean mommy started talking about how amazing it was, that we were able to give the grandkids, the Christmas that we did, and the feast that we had just had and stuff like that. And that she was so thankful, because she remembers a Christmas when she was little growing up in Korea, that all she and her siblings got a piece was a Hershey bar. And she said that she remembered, after eating the Hershey bar, she kept the wrapper under her pillow for God knows how long, because she could take it out at night when she went to bed and smell the chocolate and remember how special that was. And that was always a story that I took that with me. And I mean, I was in my late 20s at this time, and I'm like we've all talked about, I'm almost 50 next month. So I've carried that with me all these years. Like, it's just one of those things that it touches your heart, and it's bittersweet, because you have to be thankful for the things that you do have.
Yeah.
And, I know that we have Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving's all about being thankful. But to me, Christmas is just as much. Let's be thankful for the things that we do have and not wishful of the things that we don't have. I think Christmas has totally become too commercialized. Kids are all about, what are you getting me?
Yeah.
And, those of us that grew up, I didn't grow up as poorly as you did. We had a roof over our head. we had food in our belly, but, we didn't have fancy stuff. We didn't, we got 2 or 3 presents apiece, and we had a nice meal and ate ourselves stupid, and that was Christmas. If we didn't get what we wanted, we always got what we needed.
Yeah.
And so kind of talking about that and sitting around that day, sitting around the table for Christmas dinner kind of brings me to, what are you having for Christmas dinner?
This year is a little different. I'm estranged from my normal Christmas routine. I no longer speak with my mother. Long story short, she's toxic, and at 38 years old, I'm done. So
I feel that.
We're doing something
I know
different.
your mom, so I feel that.
Yeah, she's nutter butters. She just is, and which is fine, I'll probably lose my shit when I hit menopause too, and but like.
Unless you're like me, who didn't know it happened at all, and I was like, oh, just don't do that anymore. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh well, fuck yeah. We're doing something different. I think we're staying home this year. We're not gonna be having to get up and travel and do all the things. I don't have to get up and cook or clean up after everybody. It's gonna be nice. We're just gonna get up, have hot cocoa, watch my husband and my little girl open their presents and enjoy their company. And it'll be the smallest Christmas I've ever had, but I still think it'll be the best one. We're going to have tamales, of course, and then we're going to have
I would say something in Spanish to you, but I don't want to offend anybody. You know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say. So I'm going to have those and some ham, some deviled eggs, and some potato salad, and might maybe possibly make dressing. I haven't decided. It just depends. But it's really just going to be about enjoying the company.
Yeah.
With my husband and my baby this year.
And you know what? You and Gary need that, and Buggy does too.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. We need a break from having to celebrate other people's traditions. And we're firm believers of when we got married, we are no longer a part of our old family. We have just created a new family.
Exactly.
And we need to start living for that family instead of kissing the ring of the patriarchy, because it's stupid, and we're adults, and we want to celebrate our holidays the way we wanted to.
If it's a situation where you're all still really close with your parents and stuff like that, that's a different thing. But I know your relationship with your mom. I know your new budding relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
I know how that is. And so and I know that you guys have spent years going here, going there, doing this, doing that. You guys have been married a while, and it's time for you guys to just do your own traditions. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're not having a super big Christmas dinner either. I bought a ham. It's a big ham. I paid $30 for that ham, dude.
Damn, that is a big ham.
But we all love ham, and Robert was like, I want to do a ham. I want to do a turkey, and I'm like, me and sister wife both were like, yeah, no, not so much. We did a big Thanksgiving, and see, that was always the thing, like in my family growing up, if we did a big Thanksgiving dinner, we did a smaller Christmas dinner. If we did a big Christmas dinner, it's because we had a smaller Thanksgiving dinner. Like, we didn't do ham and turkey and casserole and this and that and all the other things like both holidays. So, and we did all the things on Thanksgiving. So the things that we didn't get to have, for example, Robert and I both really love broccoli casserole. It slipped my mind for a second. And we didn't have broccoli casserole on Thanksgiving, so we're having it for Christmas. We didn't get to have asparagus and cheese for Thanksgiving, so we're having it for Christmas. We're having those two items. We're having deviled eggs. We're having mashed potatoes and gravy. We're having this giant ass ham. we're going to make some pecan pies, which I'm hopeful to get a slice of because Robert is a pecan pie whore. And we're going to make apple crisp. And, that's probably about all the sweets because my diabetic ass doesn't need it, So we're not doing like super huge, but it'll be sufficient. And we were going to have one other person coming, but that person got sick. So it's literally just going to be the 5 of us. And there's no reason to have so much food that you have to go out and rent a second refrigerator for a week just to be able to store it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the biggest thing I got was the ham, because we will eat the absolute dog snot out of that ham for however long it lasts. And then the bone, you can put that in the freezer. And even though Sister Wife doesn't really care for beans, I can make a mean pot of beans with a ham bone. Oh man, you throw some cilantro off in there.
Oh girl, preach it.
Yes.
Well, you know what else you could do with ham? And I learned this from Grandpa. Not my grandpa, my husband's grandpa. We just call him Grandpa. He takes leftover ham on day 2. He takes the ham and he slices potatoes. And he layers it up in a casserole, and then he puts
ham and potatoes and cheese.
Cream mushroom and cheddar cheese and Velveeta cheese then the ham, and he mixes it all together and bakes that shit. Let me tell you, girl, that shit is good.
Yes.
It is so good.
Listen, you're talking to a fat kid. I know delicious.
Oh, yeah. Do you put ham and cheese and potatoes together?
Let me ask you this. How do you make your deviled eggs? Everybody's got a different way of making your deviled eggs.
Okay, so I don't know. I make my deviled eggs kind of like how I make potato salad. And yes, I put eggs in my potato salad. I know.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, good. So I take the yolk, 1 whole egg, and then I take all the yolks from all the eggs after they've been boiled, put those in a bowl. Mm-hmm. I put paprika, garlic powder, or minced garlic. I dice up onions, relish, and put mustard, like 3 parts mustard, 1 part mayo. I blend that together finely. I whip it up, put it in the egg, then I cover it in paprika, and it's fucking good.
Yeah. So you wanna know my secret to amazing deviled eggs? So I would tell you to sit down, but I know you're literally sitting down because you're putting on your makeup. Girl, I boil the eggs like you're supposed to, and I half them, and I take all the yolks out and put all the halves to the side. Next thing you do, you get your little bowl out, and you get your Philadelphia, and you put your Philly in a bowl, and you put that booger in the microwave and make him soft. Take your Philly out of the microwave, and then you do all the things. You put your yolks with the cream cheese. You put, I can't, because Sister Wife is allergic to pickles, I can't use relish, but I will do all the other things. Garlic powder or minced garlic, diced onions, or if I'm being lazy, I use the dried minced onions.
Yep.
A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now I do it a little bit different. I put 3 parts mayonnaise to 1 part mustard because I don't like the mustard whang. I keep mustard on hand really for one thing, and that's burns. But
nice.
Then whip it all up, put it in my little Ziploc bag with the corner cut off, and then just put them all in the egg yolks. And what that Philly does, it makes your egg part creamier. But it also helps them egg. Have you ever made deviled eggs and you got to the end of the piping bag before you got to the end of the whites?
Yeah.
I hate that. Yeah. I hate that. So what that Philly does, it bumps it up. It gives it more volume as well as making it creamy and delicious, because let's just face it, cream cheese makes everything better.
I'm going to have to try that. I have some Philly in there. Bet your ass I'm going to call you Christmas Eve. Like, how you make these eggs? Like... I want to try that.
Go back and listen to the pod.
No, bitch, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call.
Well, I mean, we're going to be talking on Christmas Eve anyway, but it is what it is. But I learned that trick about 15 years ago, and I've never made it any other way since then. Lisa makes deviled eggs, and she'll make, it's almost like jalapeno popper deviled eggs, because it'll have jalapenos and bacon in it.
Dude, really?
Yeah. So you should call her for that recipe, because that's really, really good as well also,
I
too.
totally just got like a food boner from that. Like,
but
did my magic words, jalapenos and bacon.
Dude, I'm telling you, and my husband will wrap anything. Put jalapenos on and wrap in bacon anything. Like, it doesn't matter. And oh my gosh, what we haven't purchased and we're going to purchase, because even though he is a Texan, he's Cajun, got to go get some boudin.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So for the holidays. Yeah, we're definitely going to have some boudin. Boudin is a specialty food. Like, if you don't know what it is, if you're not Cajun, like, Google it. I'm not going to try to tell you how it's a sausage with rice in it. You have to.
You just put it in your mouth and don't ask how it's made. It's good.
You have to experience it. But because it's a specialty food, that kind of helps me segue into specialty food. So we want to talk about spooky holiday foods from the 70s, because this was Ash's forte. She kind of added this to the mix when we were talking about making this episode. So I'm going to let her talk about spooky holiday food from the 70s.
Okay, so it's not so much spooky as it's spooky for me. It's gag yourself with a fork, nasty. And
you got that a little. Okay, so if you were going to make an 80s reference, that was great, but it was gag me with a spoon.
Oh, was it a spoon?
Yeah.
See,
it's like, oh my God, got me with a spoon. Like, I lived those years, dude. You were just being a baby. I was always already living those years.
I was a halfling. Okay, so gag myself with a spoon. And, no, but my grandpa-in-law, I take care of him. I had a stroke a couple years ago, and so I'm always over there. I love him like he is my own parent. Like, love him so much. And he has tons of old recipe catalogs. And
as old people tend to do.
Oh, yeah. And he knows that I'm not housebroken or feral. I have no home training. My mom did not teach me how to cook, anything like that. My husband taught me how to cook, or my dad or my brother.
But you cook such delicious food.
I do, but now because Paula Deen,
put butter in everything. Baby. Put butter in everything.
Love her and Martha Stewart. That's how I cook now. But when I first started out, I didn't know much, and Jerry did teach me a lot too. I can use his name because nobody knows who I'm talking about. But that's Grandpa, and he handed me this box. It's like a box set from like 1970 something. And it's got hundreds and hundreds of cards, and the holiday section is about 2 inches thick. And the first card I pulled was a shrimp cocktail Christmas tree. And it was a giant, you take a styrofoam cone, because that's healthy, and you spackle cream cheese mixed with shrimp sauce on it, keep it chilled, and then you shove shrimp on it and put it in there with push pins and lettuce to make a shrimp Christmas tree. And go ahead and as long as you have it chilled, it can stay out for hours for a holiday event. It's very disgusting. And then the next card I had picked up was a gelatin mold. Oh, and it was an entire dinner in a gelatin. I shit you not. They said to put chicken broth in with the gelatin mixture that you make yourself. And then you put boiled eggs, chunks of ham.
Did you just say chicken jello? Did you just say chicken jello?
Chicken jello. And olives and onions. And like you're putting like 50 things in there. Then you're supposed to chill it and slice it and eat that shit for Christmas.
Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
It looked so bad. It was like this weird brown, doo-doo brown color. I'm like, I would never put that in my body. And then they had the last thing that I saw that traumatized me. It's like a meatloaf cake thing, and you take the meatloaf, but then you have to bedazzle it for Christmas. So then you take mashed potatoes and you put that over it, and then and you make layers. So in the middle you have, layer one of meatloaf, then you have mashed potato.
And then I'm yeeting myself out of this conversation. I've got to go. My Uber is here. No.
The layer two, you put more mashed potato on that. Then you cover and drizzle it in gravy and onion. Now, and you serve it that way.
Look, I'm going to tell you, I like everything that you just said. I like everything that you just said, but I don't want it layered together in some weird meatloaf lasagna.
Yeah, it's very, and like, I'm telling you, and this is like when Better Homes and Gardens first started out. And these recipes, they scared me. And like, people ate that? Like, surely not. Like, I don't remember eating crap like that.
Well, you know what? I grossed my kids out, and this might be spooky specialties or whatever. I grossed my kids out because and sister wife too, they're all looking at me like, the actual? What are you talking about? This is not happening. But one of the things that my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, my mom always did was you take you get some celery, right? And you clean it and you slice it in about, inch and a half slices. And then you stuff it. You stuff your celery. So
wait. Are you stuffing it with something orange?
No.
Okay, continue.
I got Philly, and I'm going to melt my Philly and mix ranch dress and pack it with my Philly and stuff it with Philly ranch. I'm going to stuff it with, I've got my blender ready to go with softened Philly and pineapple chunks. So I'm going to stuff it with pineapple Philly, and then I'm going to stuff some of it with peanut butter because you can't have Christmas without ants on a log.
Okay, see, I'm not judging on that because we have, I do pimento cheese and celery.
See, and I've heard of that too. You know what's really good? Oh my God. And I'm not big on fish. Make your tuna salad. And you're going to love this being Hispanic. Take your tuna salad. Make it like you're going to make it. Put it to the side. Open your jalapenos and seed them bitches. And stuff your jalapenos with your tuna salad.
Ooh, that does sound good.
It's amazeballs.
That sounds really good.
It's amazeballs.
I love tuna salad. Love it anyway. Like, I love it.
Yeah, the first time I had it, like, I can eat tuna salad if it's drowned in enough mayonnaise that I can't taste the fish. It has to have all the things. It has to have onions. It has to have boiled eggs. It has to have nuts of some sort in there because my grandmother always put pecans in it. It's got to have, the Lord himself came down and put enough Miracle Whip and mayonnaise mixture in it. And then it's got to have paprika because you can't have it without that smoky paprika flavor. But anyway, yeah, I've had that for holidays too, and it's really, really good.
Celery stuffing, I am here for it. Well, and it could just be a demographic thing because I really think that that's like the most Texas thing, because I think hands down as Texans, we eat some weird shit.
Dude, I've had celery stuffed with brisket. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, that sounds good too. See, and that just gives me a food boner. Like, I'm totally into that.
You mix your brisket with your Philly and you put it on the celery.
And I would like to do, girl, like this Philly, girl, I literally bought some the other day to make a cheesecake, but I might start making savory stuff.
I'm telling you, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, I say Philly, but it's actually great value.
Oh, it's all right. That's okay. Listen,
you can buy 2 bricks at great value for what 1 brick of Philly cost.
I will tell you that's okay because I am that bitch that will go and get the other chicken because it's 3 cents less than the chicken next to it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah, money's money.
Completely off topic, even though this is the Christmas season, completely off topic. Here there is a grocery store, and I'm not going to name the grocery store because y'all know I'm not in Alabama, good Lord. Y'all know I'm in Oklahoma, but I'm not going to, like, let you pinpoint my location. But there's a grocery store here, and they do this really great thing. It's called 5 for $25. So you can go in this grocery store and get 5 packets of meat for $25.
Just bitching.
And it's like a pound of hamburger meat or a pound of ground sausage or, whatever the thing may be. So my thought process the other day, oh, they have chicken tenders. So I grabbed 2 packages because I've got, Robert was away working and it's the 2 girls and us 2 here. And I thought 2 packages, that's going to be enough. Dude, I got in there. I was so heartbroken. I opened those 2 packages. It was 4 tenders apiece in each package. There was 8 tenders and I was trying to figure out how to feed 8 tenders to 4 peoples. Luckily, the oldest was sick, and she didn't want to eat. When she did actually get up, I think she ate a cup of ramen, which I'm like, ugh. But, it is what it is. And then, so, sister wife had 3, I had 3, we put the other 2 on the youngest plate, because, quite frankly, we're watching what she eats, how much she eats, and, I only wound up eating 1 because we had baked potatoes with our chicken tenders, and I ate so much baked potato, I was like, here, have my other chicken.
Yeah, I love a baked potato, dude.
And I'm lazy, I put them in the microwave.
Oh, yeah, poke some holes in it with a fork.
Put some water in there.
Microwave.
Yeah, it's great
Wait
stuff.
till you start hearing it screaming. Go, ee! You're like, oh, it's almost done.
Yeah, like, food, like, the stuff that we ate, and the stuff that, and I've seen some of these recipes, like, I've seen some hot dog recipes that will scare the hair off of you. And my whole thing is, I know what hot dogs is made of. It's the same thing bologna's made of. And sometimes I'm down for a hot dog, and I ain't never down for a bologna sandwich, just so you know. But, yeah, just sign of the times, you can see what the people ate. Like, I would never, first of all, I'm not a I'm not a seafood person. So, I would never eat shrimp off of a styrofoam. I don't care if it was slathered in Philly. I'm not going to eat shrimp off of a styrofoam cone. Like, ugh.
Yeah, me neither. Mm-mm.
So,
like, I don't understand the thought process with some of that shit, and I feel like back in the 70s they just must have been very bored.
They were trying to do all the things. I mean, isn't that where this with the era of the Stepford Wives kind of thing?
Well, I think that was more late 50s, early 60s.
Oh, well, I mean, it's all the same because.
But it is, yeah. It is. I mean, it ain't shit I'll ever do. Like,
I mean, I don't know. It confuses me. But then on the flip side of that, I've got some recipes from my grandmother that, man, it'll knock the hair off of you in the other way. It's so delicious. You're just like, why do people not? My grandmother used to make chicken and rice, and she would layer the bottom of the pan with bacon before she put the rice down in the pan.
Yes.
And people don't do that stuff anymore. Like, I get told all the time, I love to bake, and I bake for my husband all the time. I have literally sold some of my baking to some of his coworkers because they're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And dude, I don't bake from a box. I bake from scratch. And it's like a dying art. It's so much easier to run to the store and grab that, box for $1.25 than it is to bake a cake with shit you probably already have on hand. I mean, let's face it. Most of us have flour on hand. Most of us already have sugar on hand. Maybe not everybody has cocoa powder on hand, but it's like a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
You almost always have, I know you always have eggs on hand because you have like 3,722 chickens. Just, stuff that's generally already on hand. It's like when I was telling you about baking biscuits. it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're lazy. It takes you know what the longest part of making biscuits is? Having the patience to let the butter thaw out to room temperature. So you know what I do? I take the butter out because my grandmother used to leave the butter sitting on the table. Like it was never refrigerated. It was in the butter dish with the little lid on it, set on the table 24/7, 365. So I literally, the day before I want to make biscuits, I'll go take that butter out of the refrigerator and set it on top of the microwave and just leave it there for 24 hours. And when I'm ready to make my biscuits, it's good to go. If you don't want to wait that long, you can always soften it in the microwave. I prefer to let it come to room temperature on its own, but you can thaw it in the microwave. It literally takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes to make a batch of biscuits. Preheat your oven to 350, throw them on the pan, and they are so much better than what my late husband called wampum biscuits. Did I tell you that story?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Did I already tell that story on this pod?
I don't remember. No, I don't think you have.
So not my ex-husband, I've been married 3 times. My first husband had the audacity to up and die on me. I know, how rude. I was still kind of ticked off at him about that. My second husband was an idiot, so I divorced him. And then I'm on husband number 3. We've been at it a year. We'll see what happens. But my first husband was Cherokee and German. Like his mother's full-blood Cherokee. So he's half Cherokee. And so I'm making dinner one night, or making breakfast, something. I'm making biscuits. And he comes in the kitchen. He goes, "Oh, man, wampum biscuits again?" And I just kind of looked at him, and I'm like, this was when we lived in Minnesota. And I looked at him, and I'm like, what the hell? I'll play your game. What the hell is a wampum biscuit? Is that native? I don't understand. He's like, "No, dumbass, you wamp them on the counter. Wampum biscuits." So
I miss him. Sense of humor.
So from thereafter, I don't care what brand it is, off-brand, name brand, whatever. If it's a biscuit in a can, it's a wampum biscuit. And that is actually when I learned. I'll tell you this funny story real quick. I told it on TikTok, but I'll tell it here. This is actually when I learned how to make biscuits, but it's not when I perfected making biscuits. I perfected making biscuits a few months ago, but I learned how to make biscuits. I was living in Minnesota. He was tired of wampum biscuits. I called up my grandmother. I said, "Nana, Dennis wants biscuits, homemade biscuits, and I don't know how to do that." And my grandmother made the best biscuits in the world. Like, it was slap your mama good. So I said, "Will you teach me how?" She said, "Well, it's kind of hard over the phone, honey, because there's no measuring." And I'm like, I know you can't see my face, but it was actually like a what the F kind of face. And I'm like, "Okay, well, tell me." So and this is an important fact in this story. I wrote down word for word everything the woman said. Exact, written down everything she said. I listened, I learned, I absorbed the knowledge from the older generation, which is something that I don't think very many people do anymore, and it hurts my heart because you can learn so much from your elders. But anyway, don't get me on that train track. I went in there. I was so excited. I got all the things out. I did the things. I preheated my oven. I made these little biscuits. I put them in the oven. They came out of the oven. Hockey pucks. They were awful. Dennis took one bite. He's like, "No, try again." So I threw them all out. I was so sad. I threw them all out. I tried again the next day. Same result. Hockey pucks. I was heartbroken. I thought, what am I doing wrong? I'm going to give this one more whirl, because three strikes, then you're out. Because for those of y'all that don't know me, I am a baseball nut. Third day, same thing. It was over and done with. I was so upset. I was in tears. I called my grandmother. I said, "Nana, I've tried your biscuit recipe 3 times. What am I doing wrong? They keep coming out like hockey pucks." She said, "Well, Tell me what you did. Tell me what you used, etc., etc. I read back to her word for word what I'd written down because I followed it to the letter. I get done. Ash, put away from your eyeballs because when I say this, I don't want you to poke yourself in the eye. She says, where's the milk? This bitch done told me how to make biscuits, but she did not tell me anything about any kind of milk. So I was making this with grease and butter, and I've altered it. I don't even use the Crisco anymore. I just use straight butter. But she literally had me making this with grease and butter and flour and salt and baking powder. No liquid.
So you were making hardtack is what you were making.
Dude. And when I tell you, she said, but you have to understand, but by this time, my grandmother, she was in the early stages of Alzheimer's, and she probably legitimately thought she told me about the milk, but she didn't. Oh, we got the red light, Ash. We got 5 minutes left. They give us an hour. We're at 55.
Ow.
We're gonna miss out on the spooky story.
That's okay.
We had a whole list of things we're going to do. Anyway, long story short, I made the biscuits. They turned out great, but by this time, Dennis was like, screw it, just buy wampum biscuits. So I perfected this a few months ago. I have passed my knowledge on to Ash. I'm going to jump into our pick of the week. This week, I am going to tell you guys about a product I love called Native. Again, we're not sponsored. I'm just telling you this because I use it. I love it. I adore it. It's great stuff. I have the body wash. I use it on my body. I use it on my pup who stinks all the time, and it makes him not stink for greater periods of time. I just recently also got the deodorant from Native. It is amazing. I absolutely love this product. I use the coconut and vanilla scent, but they have many scents, and you can pick them up at Walmart. I will tell you, they are a little pricey. I paid $12.97 for the giant bottle of body wash. I also paid $12.97 for the stick of deodorant. But are they worth it? Absolutely. I think with that, we're probably going to do our outro. Any last thoughts?
No, I was gonna outro you.
Yeah, so
Ready?
Merry Christmas from the Spookiness of It All, and we say to you,
this is Michelle Santo.
And that is Ash Ortega, and somebody's calling me at the end of our podcast. Stay spooky, guys. Much love. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our episode today. Thanks again for listening. We love you guys so much. Never be afraid to jump in the conversation. You can always email us at TheSpookinessofitAll@gmail.com. And you can always catch us on TikTok. I'm at Michelle Santo, MichellESZANTO. And she is
At Chainsaw Dolly on TikTok. It's just how it sounds.
So just so that you're aware, you can always reach us that way as well. With all of that being said, we hope that you guys stay spooky, and we love you so much. Keep listening, keep spreading the word, and just remember, she is still Ash Ortega.
And she is still Michelle Santo.
And you are still listening to The Spookiness
of It All.